For the flights, for the horses coming in. So now you discussed how they're trucked to the airport, and at the airport, are they sorted onto, you speak about pallets. Would you explain briefly what the pallets are and what they look like?
Okay, so pellet, basically, if you can think of a 3-berth horse box, chop the wheels off, that's what a pellet is. So a pellet takes 3 horses. It's the most cost-effective way to fly horses. You pay for the pellet, you pay for the volume space that takes up in the aircraft. So that's the most expensive
So
part.
whether you're shipping a Shire or a Shetland?
It doesn't matter. You're going to pay the same thing for that pellet. So
all I hear you telling me is that the baggage weight things at airports are bullshit. That's correct. Okay. Good to hear. Okay.
yeah, so chop the wheels off a 3-berth. They're loaded into that. Obviously, we've got a lot of horses that need to be loaded into the plane. The plane needs to be weighed, or the cargo needs to be weighed, and a balance sheet brought out. So you can't have all the heavy stuff right in the front of the plane, otherwise it's not going to take off. So they then put a loading plan together for the plane, and make sure that the plane is well balanced enough that it's going to fly well through the air.
And how many horses would typically fly at a time on one of those planes?
So that obviously depends on the supply and demand.
What's the most that could go?
A plane can take 90 plus horses. The
Jeez.
quarantine in Joburg can only take just under 60.
Okay,
So
that's a good limitation to have then.
yeah, I mean, if you're talking some of the polo guys, if you're talking between Argentina and Europe, they will sometimes load 90 horses onto it.
Wow. The wheelless horse box as the pallet that you use. Are there other kinds of pallets that are still being used?
Generally not. They're generally all those sort of pallets. I spoke about the polo ponies earlier. One other way of loading horses, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when Graham Wynne took horses out of here to go to his eventing champs in Weg, you actually walk the horse up onto the plane and you build the pallet around the horse.
Wow.
So that's one way of doing it. And then there's what they call an open top pallet. So the pallet that we use, they're closed tops. And then you get an open top pallet. So again, same sort of size, but there's no roof, and you'll often end up with a strap or a neck strap that ties the horse down to stop them from being able to jump up and get out. Once they're in the plane, the top of the plane forms that ceiling.